Thank you, everybody. I'm really excited for this demo. It is you're actually going to see 2 boxes be destroyed, so you get a little added bonus. But this demo, it's really about downtime. And when I was tasked to create a product demo for us, they basically said to me, create a product demo that isn't boring, that isn't UI. And that was sort of like, how do I do that? And then I thought, wait a second. I'm in disaster recovery. Why not do disasters on stage and have it be part of the presentation? So I'd like to kind of introduce what I have here on the table. I've got a Windows 7 PC. It's an Asus box. And then I've got a Datto Cirrus Business. And these guys are going to have a really tough day today. It's one of those days that nothing works. So right now what I'm doing is I'm running this presentation off of this Windows 7 box. And the presentation is about downtime. And specifically, businesses are really at an increased risk of downtime these days. And there's a combination of factors that lead to it. But what we call, it's the perfect data storm. So what is the perfect data storm? The perfect data storm is a combination of 3 big factors. There's more data being created. The customers' networks are getting jammed with more and more and more data. The apps use more data. We get more information from it. But it just leads to there being this sort of big data. And you need to have more robust systems. The value and reliance on data is absolutely increasing. And that's basically because the customer expectation is rising. The customer expectation is that I get everything now. They want it now. They need it now. And they're getting it now from a lot of different providers out there. When you think about, you go on the internet and everybody's got an online presence now. Everybody's got an online store. That online store is open 24/7. And the expectation is it is always going to be up. And finally, there's a greater risk of losing the data. So it's not a matter of if something goes wrong. It's a matter of when something goes wrong. And that's a conversation you have to have with business owners and saying that you can't avoid disasters forever. And even if you say, oh, well, I don't get hurricanes here, or there's no tornadoes here, I'm not even near a volcano, come on. The reality is that your PCs will kill themselves. The disasters happen inside the PCs. 25% of PCs will fail this year. That's what Gartner said. 24% of companies say that they've had a full data disaster in the last year. And 70% of small businesses that see those data disasters, they don't make it. And the reason is they don't have operating capital sitting around that they can kind of just spend on being down. They rely on every single business day. They look at the numbers at the end of the day and say, is that enough for me to pay my rent, for me to pay my employees? And then somehow I get whatever's left over in that pie. And if the value is 0 for how much came in that day, then they're really in trouble. They're in huge, huge trouble. So the final thing is the older the equipment gets, well, the higher the risk. And that's why there is a hardware business still, because hardware is built to break. And obviously it's not built to break in the first day, but it's built to break over time. That's the deal with hardware. And downtime is also a business concern now. We've seen a lot of regulations in the last 5 years, and they've been becoming more and more and more strict. And if you lose data, you can be in some serious litigation problems. You can be in some serious problems with these, regulations. And that's why downtime becomes more than just, okay, it's a revenue thing. No, now it's actually going to be into, whether my business can continue to run because of all the pressure of all the regulations, coming across. And the other thing is, those regulations, they're only going to get stricter. They're only going to get tighter. So when you put in a solution, you're not thinking about, I'm solving the problem today. You're thinking about, I'm solving the problem for today to 5 years from now, 7 years from now. Because you don't want to replace your backup solution. That's the scariest thing to ever do, is to replace your backup solution. So the average mid-sized company sees 16 to 20 hours of downtime per year. That is unacceptable. And that is really what that is that's an opportunity for you guys to get in there and for you guys to sell some products. The next thing that I want to talk about is what goes into the cost of downtime. And a lot of times business owners don't understand the cost of downtime. And I'll tell you, I guarantee you they never understand the cost of downtime if they haven't had downtime yet. So it is your job and your obligation to tell them what the cost of downtime is and what goes into that. Your operations stop, you're losing sales during downtime, and you're losing new customers. I know from Datto, when we were looking for a new coffee provider, we called the first company on the list. They said that their systems were down. They couldn't process the order. Well, the reality is, I can just go to the next one on the list. I Google search it. I just see whatever's top or whatever's, first couple few, and I just click on them, and that's who I order from. I don't have any specific relationship with that person. They lost that contract. They lost that business. So that new business aspect of it, that's a really important factor of when you're down. And finally, like I said, that litigation, it leads downtime to making grown men cry. I definitely know that that's true, and I've definitely seen it, and I may have done it myself. So that is an absolute fact. Now, for some good news, you can dramatically reduce your risk of being affected by downtime. I'm not going to tell you how right now. I'm actually going to throw kind of a hitch in my own presentation here. So we've got this magnesium flash paper, and it kind of burns really hot. So we're going to go ahead and burn this, and I think it's going to be pretty good here. So let's get a couple of sheets here. This is how you get kicked out of the ARIA, by the way. If anybody asked, it was Austin who thought up the idea, not me. Ooh, and I lost some hair. And that is a completely burned power supply. Okay, so we have now lost this system. This is my presentation, and it is now gone. The RDP session will be completely unresponsive. So any other presentation on the planet, it's over, and thank you guys for joining me. But I protected that presentation. I protected it on a Datto appliance, and I want to bring it back for you guys because I want to finish it. So I'm just going to go to the restore. I've got my PC, and I did back it up. If you look, and it's kind of hard to see, that's today. So we're really doing this real time. And because I wanted to have these backups be as close as possible to when I do the demo, because I didn't want this to seem fixed. I want this to seem really genuine. And when you go in and do this for partners and things like that, or for potential clients, you want it to be genuine too. You want it to be completely real, because that's how you get the wow factor. So let's go ahead and connect into this. And here we go. We're booting up, and we're already booted. All right. So, for those of you who don't know what's going on, this PC is completely dead. We've now regenerated it on our Cirrus Business here, and it's booting up. It's funny, I was setting this up, and the AV guys for the conference, I was telling them about it, and they were going, I thought the stuff we did was complex. This video, while they're like, I thought that's complex. This is ridiculous. So I'm going to go ahead, pull up my deck. And I'm not going to make you guys go through every slide. So here we go. How can you dramatically reduce your risk of downtime? Well, how about having a comprehensive solution? A comprehensive solution that is able to do a complete virtualization inside of a demo, inside of a presentation. A BDR solution that has a local component and a cloud component that is backing up entire systems, not just data. Backing up your data is not a comprehensive solution because you do not have the infrastructure to run the data, the applications, to run the business processes. That's what's important. It's not just the data. You can't back up on flash drives because what happens when you need to run the applications like you're actually doing business? So a comprehensive solution comes from a trusted IT provider. And this is a really important slide. And this is really important because people think that a IT provider could be their uncle's son who's good with computers. That's not true. That's not true. They need to be with a trusted IT service provider, and that's what you guys are. That's the value you're bringing. You're bringing them the support when they need it, when they call. You're bringing them these comprehensive solutions that I guarantee they didn't know existed. This is something that they think somehow Google has the ability to never go offline, and it's so, I don't know how it works back there, but they have that ability. You can come to them and say, I have that ability and I can sell that to you, and I can do it on your budget. And that's what really gets them excited. So we're not just protecting your data, we are protecting your business, and you're getting everything from there. That, your business carries insurance for every part of what you do, and business owners understand when you talk about their business going down, their business completely being shut off. That's when it starts hitting home. It starts hitting home in that could be the end, man. I could not be doing my own thing anymore. I could be working for somebody else again. And they don't want to do that, They really have a lot of pride in the business that they've built. And again, it pays for itself. When you go down, there's so much cost there, it really does pay for itself in the solution. So they're going to say, this is a great presentation, but I already have backup. I'm already doing that. This isn't a big deal to you. And you say, okay, you have a backup solution, but have you gone into your office in the IT area or wherever you keep your stuff and unplug and switch something off? Have you gone there and done that? And chances are they're going to say, well, no, why would I do that? That's a terrible thing to do. And you say, that's a necessity, because that's testing it for real. That's showing you whether it really works or it doesn't. And it's sort of, how long does it take you to get things running, And it's very important to do, and Datto does it often. Datto does it often to our own systems to make sure that everything comes back, and comes back in a reasonable manner. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to step it up one more time. I'm going to leave you on a cliffhanger, because there's an acronym for it, but I'm not going to tell you what it is. So I'm going to leave you on a cliffhanger. I really hate to do this to our own products, but what I'm going to do is, we're virtualized. We're just going to take the drives out. We're just going to unplug these. It's a little stuck there. We're going to unplug the drives. You probably shouldn't do this. It's really bad, but yeah, you're going to do that, and then we're going to just sort of light this one on fire here. Because that's what's important. We really got to try. We got to try it out, And it would be one thing for me to come up here and do a presentation and say, "What about unplugging this? What about unplugging that?" and then not actually do it. So let's just do it. Let's get this thing going here. All right, this might be bad. So, Ooh, it's still coming out of the back there. Okay, all right, so this is definitely not working. And as far as I can see, I don't have this presentation on the western side of the United States right now. So I am really, really in some hot water. But again, a comprehensive solution has a cloud component to it. So let's go ahead and access it over a hotel Wi-Fi. Because that's a smart thing to do. That's what you want to do. So we're going to do an off-site virtualization. Here we go. Let's go next here. We're going to get things set up. And, the funny thing is, I call it the disaster demo. And the first time I ever did this demo, I was so nervous. I built this whole demo, and I was nervous because it was like, there's so many moving parts. How could I do this? And so in my kind of nervousness, I actually, I plugged the switch. I used the wrong power supply for the switch, and it went, pfft. And that was when I was testing it, and that was 1 hour before the demo was supposed to happen. 1 hour before the demo was supposed to happen. And so I went to the conference staff, and this was in Chicago. And the conference staff, I said, I need a switch. And they go, you mean like a light switch? You need one of those? I was like, no. I need a switch, and they didn't have it. And so what I had to do is I got a cab, and I said I need to get to the Best Buy. And I said, okay, all right, so we got to go to the Best Buy. And I had 1 hour left. And we got the cab to the Best Buy, and I told a cab driver, I said, drive as fast as you can. Note to self, never tell a cab driver, drive as fast as you can, because I was sitting in the back and I couldn't believe it. I just could not believe he was swerving 4 lanes of traffic. And, but then again, I was thinking in my head, if I'm in the hospital, I got an out for the demo. I don't even have to do it. This is perfect. And I wanted to, but I just got in this freak cab accident. So, it all worked out in the end. But it was a really close call, and I came back in. And the funny thing is, I came back in and I set everything up, And I went to tell the story, and I got to kind of the punchline, and it was just crickets. And so I was like, I got nothing out of them. But you guys have been at least a little bit better on that one. All right, so let's get this going. You guys are waiting on an acronym. And again, this is in the cloud here. This is in Pennsylvania. Some server in Pennsylvania doesn't know that they've got 300 people or 200 people staring at a screen waiting for it to perform. And it's a really crazy thing. So here we go. Let's get going here. And I don't want to flip through all these slides, so I'm going to go ahead and get us right to the slide we need. And it's not responding. Perfect. It's coming. Don't worry. You know, I have to say, I didn't even purchase the faster Wi-Fi. You know, I was thinking, why don't I just save the company a couple of dimes here? And because that's so ridiculous, though. Like $50 for, come on, really? I mean, you know, I couldn't do it. I couldn't get myself to do that. Okay, so the acronym is Recovery Time Objective. You guys saw, if you were in the sales and marketing track, Rob has, Datto and Rob have built a great tool for actually finding recovery time objective. And I guarantee you, if you do this demo and tell them about recovery time objective, and then you give them the RTO tool, they're going to be like, now I know what that means. Now I know what that actually means. So how long does it take to recover? And remember, we've done 2 recoveries, and I'm still like running short on my session. And so how long does it take to recover? Seconds, minutes, hours, days, and then the best one at this one, the last one, never. Because that's a reality too. It may never come back, and you may lose the data. And then we're talking about not just downtime, but we're talking about data loss. And so what I want to say is that the evidence for business continuity and the reasons for business continuity, they just start adding up and adding up and adding up and adding up. Business continuity, you're getting all the protection you need, and it's in one solution. And they can pay one price, which is so awesome for them. So you really want to compare. You got the local, you got the cloud, you got everything, and then you're talking in seconds and minutes. When they call on the phone, you're going to tell them, no big deal, I'm doing this. I showed you what I'm going to do. This is what I'm actually going to do when something bad happens on your network. And that's what's really cool to them.